Okay, let's look at the blurb at the top. It says Yekabin lahamshech. It says Yekabin lahamshech mi yesod u'malchus liyasos. So we're down at the bottom of the yasos, the tzilus. In its tzilus, I guess mostly what we see, and what I'm saying, my guess is you see these oros in a letter form, and we went through the oros yesterday. They're going to be the same for the next several words. So he says Mekifi Lamed Mem. So again, I don't know why we're dealing with the Mekifim here. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with reading the Megillah. I don't know. The Megillah is going to be something that's spoken out. So maybe that has to do with the Lamed Mem, but I don't have a clue on it. But it says Mekifi Lamed Mem the Tzalmei Amochin the Chochmos. Okay, that's just one thing I wanted to point out. The Abba Ve'ima V'yaso. So here the first is that we're delivering the Chachmos of them, together with their lights, which I guess we're looking at here, in the Ramchi, the Chaya Shebehem. So along with Chachma goes, I guess, Chaya. So then we go over to the next one, and the next one says the Hamshech. This is the word b'mitzvaysav. I'm sorry. The first one says Kiddushanu. He had some other comments about the word Kedusha, which he says comes from Chochmah. You say the word b'mitzvosav, and it continues the flow downward of these oros. And then, of course, he says the Tzalmei Mochin. So this is going to be of the Binos to Abba. So before it was the Chochmas of Abba Ve'imach V'yasos, which it means it's pouring. This is the bottom part where they're going to bring this chef of Binos into the bottom of Yasos, together with the Rantchi, the Neshama, because the Neshama goes with Bina. So those, exactly what that is, I'm reading it. That's going on. Then the next word is the magic word Vetsevisano. So he says, Yekavin lahamshek mekifi lamed mem de talme amochan devok. Once again, it's the lamed mem again, it's the makif. So he's saying that the makif there are makifim on each one of these parts of, the vok is a parts of, he's looking at it, and the talme amochan devok, the abba ve'ima ve'yasos, together with the ranchi, the ruach shebehem. So when you go to the vok, or the zeranpin of this, it's going to be the light of ruach shebehem. And then this is where let's see, that's where we are now. So let's take one more look at it. So he shows us the oros that we're dealing with when we're dealing with the vok of the lamed mem that salam. That's what we're dealing with here. Before we were dealing with the bina, and then before that we were dealing with the chachma. So I'm not sure what it means, but in other words, it's not exactly like a madrega that you have, say, in spheros. But then again, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with the Vok of the Oros. So the Vok of Abba Ve'ima Ve'yasos im the Narantchi, the Ruach, together with those Oros. And these are the Oros of the Narantchi, the Ruach. And as I said before, they look exactly like the Oros of the Narantchi, the Neshama. So what's happening here? I just stress what's happening here is bringing this down into a lower level of light in the book, because the book is a lower level light. Is that the idea? Well, I'm trying to get. So we go down to the very bottom of the page, and he has this note, and this is like the same note. Where's it going to go? Rabbi Memran used to say that where it's coming from and the addresses of where it comes from, where it goes to, are going to be the same. So this is the Partsufi Kachba the Yitzira. So now we're in Olam Yitzira. I probably should have let that before, because before that we were in Bria. When we were with Binos, we were in Olam Bria. Now we're in Olam Yitzira. The Zer Anpin, the Hatzilus, the Yitzira, the Bia, the Hatzilus. So these phrases where he says the Zad, the Eric Anpin, the Yitzira del Bia, and then looking at each one of the Olamos, Atzilus, Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya, each one of them is going to have an Abia inside of it. But this particular one is going to be from the Yitzira, the Atzilus, the Zad, the Atzilus, the the Yetzira, the Rabia, the Atzilus. So it's all different phases of asking us to look into Atzilus and realize that there's an Abia in the Atzilus itself. And so it goes to where it goes to the Yitzir part of that, the Atzilus, the Yitzira, the Bia. Okay. Now we're coming to the next one, and now we get into a little bit more detail on this. We get to the word al. So we said Asher Kedeshana b'mitzvah Yisav al. What's pshat in the word al? So he says, why do we need it? So I know one thing about the word al is that it's the gematria of 100. So he says, he writes in a little blurb at the top, Yekavi lahamshik mekifi lamed mem. So we're dealing with the mekifim of the lamed mem, the tzalmei mochan the malchus. So now we're dealing with the when he says this, I guess he assumes that what we see down below are the oros. And then I assume that he's saying that the mochim are covering over the old oros, and again the tzal slamim are covering over the mochim. So that's why I think so that they're implied here. In other words, he says it, but what you're actually looking at is the oros, but it also has levushim, and which he's not showing, and slamim. So anyway, the tzalmei hamochin, the malchios, which malchios? The malchios that come from Abba ve'ima ve'yasos, together with the Narantki, the Nefesh, because the Nefesh goes along with Malchios, Shebehem, and that's the level. This is Nefesh Dikka light that you're looking down here. So all I could do is just try to understand what's on the page. So where is this going to go? So we're going through the oros, which once again are the same oros, but in different positions. So he said the Chabad v'Chagat, which is the top 6 spheros of Ma'uben, so we have to assume that Ma'uben have 10 spheros. So he said of the Ma'uben, so this is at the beginning of where the Ma'uben are going to come in through the Yisod of the Yisodas that he mentioned before of Abba Ve'ima and Yisrael Saba Tavuna. It's going to come down to that. The Chabad v'Chagat de Ma'uben, so it's going into the top part of what is filtered through now from Ma and Ben. The Partsufi Kachba Da'asiya, and it's going into a Siya to the Partsufi in the Kachba Da'asiya, the Zer Anpen, the Hatzilus. Once again, the Zer Anpen, where are we? We are in the Olam Hatzilus. But at the same time, we're doing the Asiya, and or this refers to the Zer Anpin, the Hatzilus, the Asiya, and also Asiya. Which Asiya? The Asiya of each one of the Olamos of Asiya, Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya has within it an Asiya. And each one of those, this is going to operate in each one of those. Then he says gematria mea. So actually the word al, which he said before, is the gematria of the number 100. So he's like b'shem eses spheres de bria, which are the 10 spheres of bria. We call achas kalula me'eser, and then each one of them has 10. So he said these are what? These are spheres of olam abria. So I'm not sure how he got the bria, but call achas, I guess it's coming that we were dealing with Tzilus. So now we're coming into bria. We call achas kalula me'eser. So we're coming to a specific place in bria. With the word al, we're dealing here with the malchus and the or, which is in it, which is called the malchus of nefesh. So we have a number lam and aleph at the bottom, and then we're going to get to the magic word mikra, hopefully. The gematria, so the gematria mea, shehem eser spheres, the bria v'kol achas kolula me'eser, he says, I'm down to bottom, here he says, kan nimshach ha-shefa the bria. So here, this is what you delivered it all the way down the line through Chochmah, Bina, Zer Anpin, and Malchus. You delivered it down the line like that. So Hakan Nimshach Hashefa the Bria, and that's in Itzilus. Now we're going to Bria, the Maroma B'Midas Al. Why? Shehu gematria mea keneged mea olamos, the 100 worlds or of hiddennesses, pratim, specific sheyesh ba'olam abriya, that you have there in olam abriya. Now, he wanted to say there's 10 spheros in Bria, and each one of the 10 spheros has 10 spheros. Of a mila mikra, so you said the word mikra, which you're about to get to, Nimshach Hashefa Olam Yitzira, then it goes further down. So this is all these oros, and he said also that the Talmud, the Mochid, all of that, which is called Sama idea, Maroma's Yitzira, the Milas Megillah. When you go to the word Megillah, Mitzvah will see some of this. Nimshach Hashefa Olam Asiyah. So this is how things are going. Now, this is a piece that's found. I think I mentioned that. I got offline a little bit, but this is a piece where I saw that in the Zohar recently, the word emesh, or if it's a word, it's aleph, mem, and shin, which I just said has a gematria, the same gematria as the word mikra. So exactly what's going on here. So he says, you're going to now say al mikra. Mikra is like... it's what you call a participle. It's talking about an action that's going to happen. A mikra Megillah, on the reading of the Megillah, he says what you say over here is the gematria of aleph, mem, and shin. Same thing. So, like I said, this is in Sefer Yetzirah too. He's going to mention that this is one of the building blocks of reality. V'hu b'zer anpen shehu b'yitzira. So he says these three letters, aleph, mem, and shin, are of the zer anpen, which is the zer anpen of olam yitzira. Zer anpen goes with olam yitzira. V'yakav b'shem sag. Now, also in addition to that, you should have a kavana to the name sag, which has one aleph in it. So that maybe he's going to say is the aleph of emesh. So now he comes over here and he says, here's the aleph. The aleph shall emesh, he says. There's the aleph to sag. Now, what does the aleph or sag do for me here? I mean, why is he in Mikra? He says this has something strong to do with this. In the letter aleph is the aleph to sag. The number men is shal emesh, hu arba b'mochim shebetoch the nai the ima. So that refers to the mochim, because we know that there's 4 mochim. Haniknas and bezer anpin, that are going to wind up going inside of zer anpin. And then the shin of emesh is actually the nai. So let me see what happens here. Okay, but the nai, the nai. So this is the delivery portal. The Haim Klas Yudin, the Sag, and they were represented by, he says that the 3, let's say the 3 arms or legs, branches of the Shin, represent the Tlas Yudin that are inside of the name Sag, that are part of the name Sag. Kol Echad Kolul Mayud Hare Mea, and you're back to 100 again. Now, so a lot of this for me is like, just new. And we got into a place of this lost in space, back to lost in space, where it's not so like logical and linear. It's presenting us with these oros in different forms and in different places. And so that's the part of inner space that we are looking at. So we're going to go over here and we're going to read the light print in the Tiv. Kosev b'machberes hakodesh, v'zerel deshono. Mikra is gematria of emesh, which we said is 341. Shehu osius shene'emro b'sefer Yetzirah. That's also there. Zacher be'emesh, v'nukva ba'asham. So he switches the letters around. Now, exactly, okay, it says that. He has within himself these 3 letters in this order. Hainu Aleph Sag. Aleph comes from Sag. Umem the Tevuna Shehu Revia albonin. I think that's what it mem zvuna, which is the fourth, the fourth. It's not a revua. He says it's a fourth. Albonim hainu nehim. Here's the four netzachod yisod malchus. Not sure I got this what he's talking about, but he has a little help later on. B'niknasa b'socha hadalad mochen, and so into this, what are they? They are mem is the Tavuna Shehi Revia, it's 1/4 or something like that. Albanim, it's one of the four. I'm not sure. Albanim Hainu Nehim. That is Netzachod Yisoda Malchus. That is the actual funnel itself. V'niknasim Besocho Hadalad Mochem. And into this funnel, which he calls a Revia, I don't know what to do with that. He says enters into the Dalad Mochem. V'yos kain niknasim b'zer anpen, and since that's the situation, then they go into zer anpen. So ki niknasim b'zer anpen, a niknasim bo ela the nai levad. Only the nai parts goes in. Well, we know that's a fact anyway. V'heim al shlosha yudin desag. What is the nai? The nai is represented by the 3 yudin in the name sag. Now sag refers to ima. So what is going on here? I don't know. B'niknasim toch yud rishona dezer anpen, and they go into the first yud of the name zer anpen. Now, what does he mean by the yud rishona of zer anpen? V'yud pamim yud. So I'm not sure zer anpen. What is yud kevavke? They go into the yud kevavke. I'm not sure. V'yud pamim yud. So once again, we got another 10 times 10. Hare shin. That makes 300. That makes the letter shin 300. So I'm a little lost over here. Shehem Shin, which is once again the Shimon the Emish. So we have just a couple of minutes. So let me look at it again. So he says, "B'tiyos ki niknasim bezer anpen." So the nai goes into zer anpen. Ein niknasobo elanai. So only the nai goes in by itself. Now, what does he mean by only the nai? He's talking about the shefa, the mochin that are in the nai. What is he talking about? Shlosha Yudin de Sag. So he says this nai is represented by the 3 Yudin of Sag. The Niknasim Toch Yud Rishona de Zeranpen. How many Yudin are there in Zeranpen? So he's saying, I'm not sure. So he says, we need help. V'yud pamim yud hare shin, so that gives 3 times 10. I said 10 times 10 gives you shin. What are shin? Which is the shin the emish? So I missed a lot of that. So we're going on. Nimsa shaha aleph he shrashis b'zer anpen. The aleph actually is rooted in zer anpen. V'gam benuk naasa aleph shel adni, and also this aleph roots itself in zer anpen and also in the nuk. Umen v'shin, the other 2 letters. Hakalim, the nai the ima, they represent the kalim of the nai the ima. So this is the kalim that holds the mochin that are inside, represented by the shins and the aleph, by the part of the shin and the aleph. Is v'chamamochin b'boim l'zeranpen heim arba kanoidim shehem chug v'chug. Afal pi she'achar kach mischadrem yachad chug b'soch yisod. So then after that, what happens is that the chug, that's the top part, gets joined together in the, I guess he means a yichud, I'm not sure, b'soch yisod. Mem matachilus havayasam heim arba. So the mem is that there are arba mochin. Nimsa she'osius emesh heim b'zer anpen. Okay, so that is what's coming into zer anpen, like he went through pratim. In the nukva, so when this is given over to the nukva, aleph shorsh benukva shehi aleph de adni. So it finds that there is a root or a place. I don't know what he means by this. That is a root in the nukva, and the nukva is adni, and so he finds there is a match there. Umem the shin shaba. So the mem and the shin that are now going to be inside of the nukva mischafchim, they turn around. V'naase sham besod chosem hamischafech, and they turn themselves into a seal that turns itself around. V'na'asa, the name Adifin, it turns itself around with the same words, Hashem. Now, I could summarize what he said, but he's going to help us a little bit right now. V'havein ad kan lashono. So he says that these letters, Aleph, Shin, Mem, and like I say, the Zohar actually had different. It said that the Aleph was Chesed and the Shin was Gevura, and then the Mem is like the middle line. It talked a little bit like that. Here's different. So Ad Kan Lashona, he said, "V'bir devarim." Let me explain this. He says, "Shebemidach mikra nirmaz b'shem sag." So we know that sag is a molech that is coming from bina. Shel ima. So he said, "B'shem sag shel ima hashefach hanimshach leolam yitzira." So the shefa that really is flowing down now into olam yitzira shehu b'bechina zer anpen, because we understand yitzira and zer anpen go together. V'os aleph shel emesh. Let's take that. V'shel mikra, and that's also in the word mikra. Romez al os aleph shel milui os vav aleph vav. Okay, well we have that kind of idea, so that's where that aleph came from. That is b'shem havayah desag. V'nim shachim dalad mochim, and then it brings down dalad mochim through this havayah desag. Shekol echad yesh bo es spheros. That's 4 times 10. V'yachad, they make a mem of the word emesh. Excuse me. Which he said in the Nukva, the letters get switched. That's interesting, into Asham instead. Umem shel mikra, and then you have that's the mem shel mikra. Mischavrim b'yisod, and you join to them into, they're all going to join together. This is this aleph and the mem in the yisod. V'os shin shel emesh. So now there's a shin. V'os kar, which is part of the word mikra. Shel mikra romezim romezes al levushim shel l'nai de'ima. It's really the levush. Is he mean to say that is the nai de'ima shenirmaz begimel yudin shebeshem sag, which goes, we had said that those yudin in sag are like that. Okay, so we went through that a little bit. It's still in deep outer space and coming out from we just see the tips of things. He just shows us the oros. The next one is really difficult for me to understand where he got these symbols. At any rate, that's a shir today. Have a wonderful Shabbos, Rebbe. It's really been a pleasure. Goodbye.